We've got breaking news out of the NFL where the Chargers have released Pro Bowl edge rusher Joey Bosa. He was entering the final season of a 2-year, $40 million deal and was due $12.4 million roster bonus on March 12th. Bosa spent his entire 9-year career with the Bolts and has racked up the second most sacks in franchise history. The move will clear just over $25 million in cap space for next season, with Los Angeles holding just over $11 million in dead money. We now welcome in CBS Sports lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones on the heel of the breaking news out of L.A. And JJ, we know fellow pass rusher Khalil Mack set to hit free agency here in a couple of weeks. Bosa still had another year on his deal. So why here? Why now for L.A.?
So, Kiana, actually, I was out in L.A. at training camp, and I brought up to Joey Bosa about his contract situation. This was always set up to be something where, frankly, this was probably going to be his last season with the Chargers this past season. He knew it. Looking at his contract, you had to know it. He really had to have one of the better seasons of his career in order to remain with the Chargers. And so with that backdrop, we can say that it is no surprise that Joey Bosa is not continuing with the Chargers. He did tell me that he wanted to continue his career with them, that he only wanted to play for one team, but of course, that is not going to happen. He also told me then that he saw his career, if it ended after the 2024 season with the Chargers, he would want to go elsewhere. Obviously, the first place that you could think of would be staying in the state with his brother and joining the San Francisco 49ers. But now Bosa is a free agent. He can sign anywhere that he wishes to. Obviously, again, it has been anticipated for Bosa, for his representation for some time. It's been anticipated around the league. And so you can imagine that something rather quickly could happen there. You mentioned Khalil Mack as well. That's an interesting name because in talking with folks last week at the scouting combine in Indianapolis, the thought was that the Chargers would certainly attempt to retain Khalil Mack, that they thought that he still had another good year or two left in him. And so I would imagine that will be a next step for the Chargers, who last year didn't really make any big splashes in free agency, couldn't because of their salary cap issues and woes, and now we'll have more than $70 million in cap space once the start of free agency begins next week.
Yeah, the Chargers, a team that put their focus certainly on that defense. Now, potentially with this move and what could lie ahead, maybe seeming to turn the tides here in the near future. Free agency beginning Wednesday, March 12th for the new league year. Jonathan Jones, as always, we appreciate that insight. Thank you so much. Take a look at Joey Bosa's career, all 9 seasons spending with the Los Angeles Chargers. He was the 3rd overall pick back in that 2016 NFL draft. Won the 2016 Defensive Rookie of the Year, 5-time Pro Bowl selection, had 5 or more sacks in 8 of his 9 seasons, eclipsed 50 or more sacks faster than any Charger in franchise history. Joey Bosa no longer will be in that powder blue, officially hitting free agency, which begins March 12th. We've got breaking news out of the NFL where the Chargers have released Pro Bowl edge rusher Joey Bosa. He was entering the final season of a 2-year, $40 million deal and was due $12.4 million roster bonus on March 12th. Bosa spent his entire 9-year career with the Bolts and racked up the second most sacks in franchise history. The move will clear just over $25 million in cap space for next season, with Los Angeles holding just over $11 million in dead money. We now bring in CBS Sports NFL analyst Brian McFadden on the heels of the news out in L.A. And B-Mac, we know that Joey frees up over $25 million in cap space for L.A. And so we understand the why. But now I want to know, what does this move say about the potential direction maybe the Chargers are looking to go? Getting rid of one of their star pass rushers, are they starting to look maybe offense this offseason?
Yeah, I think when you look at this move, clearly this is kind of expected with Joey Bosa. The last 3 seasons, Kiana, only 18 starts. He's been more injured than healthy. You talked about the cap number that was associated with him going into the final year of his deal with the Chargers. Financially speaking, this made sense for them. So I feel like the Chargers under this new regime with Coach Harbaugh and his new staff, going into year 2, they're trying to add some young legs to what they do on the defensive side, especially in terms of edge rushing. Finding a way to get youthful movements going throughout the locker room and being able to be very, very consistent and disruptive on the defensive end. I mean, Joey had an outstanding career for the Chargers, but it's safe to say, I think, separating in terms of both sides is probably the best situation right now for Joey Bosa, because I do believe there will be a market for him. I don't consider him to be an elite-like pass rusher, but if you're talking about adding him to a defense that clearly needs some consistent pass rushing ability, he can provide that.
I want to dive into that market for him in just a moment, but just to build off of what you said, missed 23 games across his last 3 seasons. We know injuries have been a big issue for him as of late, but you think about the Chargers having a guy like Khalil Mack on their roster set to become a free agent. What do you think this move maybe means for his future in LA?
I mean, it looks like moving on from Joey Bosa makes signing Khalil Mack even a bigger factor, more important, because you don't want to lose both bookend edge rushers. Khalil Mack has been more durable. He's been more consistent because he's been on the football field than Joey Bosa. But he is older as well in terms of, in his 30s. So if you're able to maybe bring back Khalil Mack and, like I said, still add some youth towards what you're doing when you're rushing the passer, it really helps because he can have an opportunity to help learn and educate whoever that young opposite edge rusher is he's working with. But in today's NFL world, when you think you know Kiana, you do not know. Only the Chargers know exactly what they're going to do with Khalil Mack in terms of retaining him or maybe allowing him to test the waters.
Yeah, he's coming off his 9th season with the Chargers, 5-time Pro Bowler, had 5 or more sacks in 8 of those 9 seasons, eclipsed 50-plus sacks faster than any other Charger in franchise history. We talked about he has dealt with some injuries, but now I got to ask you, what team might need Bosa? I mean, he's still got some juice in the tank. Let's not say that he doesn't, but what team might need him the most?
Yeah, you talk about still having juice in the tank. I think he will be 30 in July. So he's still fairly young in terms of his position. He just has to find a way to stay healthy. But the first team that I thought about hearing Joey was released by the Chargers is the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, they have some other factors they need to worry about in terms of finances when you look at Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Trey Hendrickson. But seeing Sam Herbert just retired from the game, you need to find a way to improve your defense. The reason why this move makes sense for Joey Bosa, Kiana, is because I don't think he has the financial leverage like some of the other high-level pass rushers could have in terms of his inability to stay healthy. As I stated, the last 3 seasons, he's only started 18 games. The last time he played a full year, it was 2021. Heck, I was 25 then. Now I'm 43. So a lot of time has passed since he's played a full season. So you might be able to get Joey Bosa if you're the Cincinnati Bengals in a more team-friendly deal when you look at their finances and knowing you have to allocate money to other areas on your football team with guys that are looking to get a new deal sooner than later.
That was those B-Mac prime years right there, back when he was 25. But you bring up the Bengals. I was hoping and just wondering if you were maybe going to bring up maybe a reunion, played at Ohio State with his little brother. Could there be a reunion in the Bay Area? Just asking. Just saying.
You never know. I mean, anything about having 2 Bosas on your team, you should be in good hands. So who knows what San Francisco could do? Because if you can pair him up with his younger brother and Nick Bosa, oh, man, just think about the marketing deals. Bosa, Bosa and company. There's a lot of different slogans that you can throw out there to the Bay Area if that was to happen. And guess what, Kiana? For our viewers that don't know a lot about you, yes, Kiana is a San Francisco 49ers fan. It's hard for her to not show her fandemonium because she threw out San Francisco as a potential destination for Joey Bosa to play alongside his brother, Nick Bosa.
I'm just trying to make sense of the situation. He's now becoming a free agent, some landing spots.
Bosa Brothers Construction.
I'm saying Bosa's in the Bay. I'm just throwing it out there. They played together at Ohio State. All right. As always, Brian McFadden dropping the knowledge, the prime years of B-Mac. We need to throw in some B-Mac highlight tapes over here. It's not football season yet, but I'm always ready for it. Thanks as always, Brian McFadden. Take a look at the most sacks in Chargers history. Bosa only trailing Leslie O'Neal, the most sacks in Chargers franchise history. He reached 50 or more sacks faster than any Charger in franchise history, and now will be taking his talents elsewhere.